We watch them every day. Some of us learn from them. Some of us take stock tips from them. But the law is clear. Finfluencers are not allowed to give any trading or investment advice unless they are registered with SEBI. This man did not follow the law, and the market regulator has cracked the whip. Many of you will be familiar with Avadhut Sathe, a hugely popular Finfluencer who broke out into a dance in the midst of talks. Sathe's offices in Mulund and Karjat were raided by SEBI yesterday for hours. It is suspected that he had provided investment advice to unsuspecting followers. Not just that, he is also suspected to have colluded with companies to push penny stocks. It's a shocker, no doubt. And SEBI is sending a clear message across: follow the law or we will come for you. Today on this special show, we will take you through every aspect of this crucial case. But first, let's listen in to SEBI Chairman Tuhin Kanta Pandey, who spoke about fighting fraudsters. He said that speed of information is the market regulator's biggest weapon when it comes to fighting fraud. He was speaking at a mutual funds event in Mumbai. Let's listen in.
As fraudsters grow more creative, we must be more vigilant. Each time such a case is detected, AMCs must act promptly and monitor the evolving patterns in such practices. Such modus operandi may be shared across AMCs and QRTAs as well to immediately prevent recurrence of such cases. Remember, in this battle, speed of information is our greatest weapon.
Now, the case came to light on August 21st when SEBI whole-time member Kamlesh Chandravarshne confirmed that a major search operation was underway. He did not name the influencer. NDTV Profit subsequently found that the Finfluencer in question was Avadhut Sathe. Here's what he said on Thursday.
We have carried out a big search operation on some big name in this industry because idea is, this chairman has given a very clear direction that quality is more important than number. So your enforcement action must be directed at big people where you can show impact. See, what is the idea of enforcement? Enforcement is not for revenue collection. That is, sorry, I'm using this word because of my previous background. But idea is to create a fear in the market that there is a law enforcement agency, there is a regulator who is watching you, so people follow the law voluntarily. So that is the purpose of enforcement, and that purpose is best achieved by focusing on big people and showing that, SEBI is effectively watching everyone.
My colleague Charu Singh broke the story exclusively on NDTV Profit. She visited the Avadhut Sathe Training Academy, or also called ASTA premises in Mulund, a suburb of Mumbai, where SEBI officials were searching the premises. She found that the illegal gains from Sathe's operations could be in the range of a massive 400 to 500 crore rupees. Here's Charu's ground report.
A little over 20 kilometers away from the BKC office of Securities and Exchange Board of India lies Flying Colours Cooperative Housing Society in Mulund. And why is it important? It's important because this is where the corporate office of Avadhut Sathe lies, the Finfluencer who has been under the scrutiny of Securities and Exchange Board of India for giving unregistered trading advice. Now, this is a person who has been in the business for quite a while and has offices around the country, be it Bhubaneswar, Kochi, Kolkata, Mumbai and several other areas in the Sahyadri region. And he has a big network of teachers and traders who themselves are unregistered on the SEBI platform and are the people who used to be his own students. Now he is running this business in a way that there are several people on the premises constantly working in a very godman kind of a way, working on a very self-proclaimed God philosophy of trading, where they also have an energy wing where they focus on the resilience and the emotional stability of the traders and keeping them connected with their platform even if they face losses. Now, this is a case where SEBI is looking at impounding illegal gains of over 400 to 500 crore rupees, but the search operation is still going on and it remains to be seen as to what happens. We'll keep you updated.
We've all watched Avadhut Sathe and know how popular he is among retail investors. His trading methods call for respect for the God market. He calls the stock market the God market. Sathe has regional centers across the country, including in Bengaluru, Kochi, Pune, Navi Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Indore as well. But who is he in reality? Let's find that out.
He has lakhs of followers on social media platforms. Over 9 lakh subscribers on YouTube alone. Many of whom believe in his philosophy that prosperity is the birthright of every Indian. Avadhut Sathe's theatrical style, dancing mid-lecture, preaching trading as a financial war, captivated thousands of aspiring stock market traders. But who is Avadhut Sathe and where did he come from? A BE Electronics graduate from the University of Mumbai, he passed out in 1991. He studied software engineering at NCST as well. He earlier worked with Deloitte and the Mumbai Port Trust, among other companies, and subsequently began his own venture and training models. According to his website, Sathe has traded in the stock markets in India and overseas since 1991. He has also been associated with Southern Advisors since 2010. In January 2015, he set up his Avadhut Sathe Training Academy, or ASTA, promising to train just about anybody in achieving financial independence. Sathe, though, now finds himself in the crosshairs of the market regulator SEBI. Will the man who called the market a battlefield survive the regulatory storm?
Founder of Kushbora.com, Kush Bora, now joins me to discuss this case further. Welcome to the show, Kush Bora. Thank you so much for giving us your time. My first question to you is, Avadhut Sathe's case is quite a shocker. He kept claiming that he was training investors on financial independence. How does the average retail investor, a new investor especially, figure out who is legal and who is working illegally?
Hi, Malika. Very good evening to you and to all the viewers, and it's a pleasure to be here. I think the answer to your question very pointedly is quite simple. You just have to go to SEBI's website and see whether the the person in question is registered or not. Nowadays, what's happened is SEBI has made these laws and these rules very stringent for anyone who wants to dispense any kind of advice, perhaps even consider training or imparting education. And you could go ahead, register yourself with the SEBI. So if you want to, get a very simple answer about who's legal and who's not, I think you should go to SEBI's website, type their name in, and see, whether they're registered with SEBI or not. I think that's a very good starting point for an average retailer, especially a new investor who's walking into the stock markets.
Right, Kush. I think it is extremely easy today, and hence the prevalence of such cases, to get swayed away by people like Avadhut Sathe himself, despite the rules being present in the system. Now, Sathe is said to have made illegal gains of up to 500 crores. How is such a thing even possible, and what lessons must be learned from this case?
Malika, it beats me. In fact, even baffles me to some degree. While I will not comment on the gentleman in question particularly, but let me share something with you. I have been associated with some of the top brokers of the country. I wouldn't name them, obviously, but I've been associated with them on the education side, where I've partnered with them on training, coaching, retail investors on various subjects and various aspects of investing and trading. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I know that some of these arms of well-funded, well-intentioned, and well-meaning brokers also find it very difficult to make a few crores on the education side. I mean, right, of the financial literacy arm that they have, to make a few crores, every year. Let alone being in the profitable side of things, even perhaps even break even because of the marketing and the conducting charges or the costs rather. So this kind of an amount through training just simply baffles me. So I don't know how such an amount can be made, but at least the entities that I've been associated with have found it very difficult to make it big in terms of the revenue stream. Most of the brokers end up doing this as a value add service for their retail investors, for their investors, so that they know how and what to trade in the market. So yeah, I mean, it's a difficult task, keeping the financial literacy arm going. But a lot of recognized brokers do this just to help their investors and traders out.
Right, Kush. Thank you so much for helping us understand that. But stay with us now. I have my colleague Charu Singh joining us also. Avadhut Sathe is not the first finfluencer, Charu, facing the long arm of the law. SEBI has acted against a number of finfluencers in the recent past who had broken the law. Could you take us through the past actions by the market regulator?
So the market regulator, Securities and Exchange Board of India, has been working relentlessly for the past 1 year or slightly more than that against the increasing problem of unregistered stock tips and advisory. Now this has been done to a certain extent by social media influencers who SEBI started calling as Finfluencers. Now this also became something that sprang up to a certain extent during the COVID period, but after that the practice continued, because of which there was a lot of proliferation in the market with fake market advisory, which eventually led to manipulation and innocent investors losing a lot of money. Now, there have been several orders in the past few months and since last year, ever since the regulations came in. First, the regulations came in and they said that any market registered entity that is directly or indirectly associated with any unregistered advisory platform or a finfluencer will have to face the scrutiny from the market regulator. Then there was the bomb-like order on Asmita Patel, the wolf of market, as she called herself. And then there was another influencer known as Bap of Charge. There are several of them over Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and several other apps where a lot of people have proliferated through different platforms and people are being duped, and SEBI is on the lookout to bring market discipline in whatever manner it can.
Right, Charu. Thank you so much for giving us that extreme list of people who have been busted and caught by the SEBI and the regulators for doing such illegal practices. But Kush Bora, I'll get you in back here. And we were talking about you started this conversation by saying that it is, simply put, easy to distinct between a legal advisor and an illegal advisor by simply going onto the SEBI website and checking for their information. But as Charu recently just now highlighted to us, that cases are prevalent. They keep happening. Where do you think is the leakage then?
I think it's a mix of, high expectations, right, from the side of the investors, and that combined with what influencers often think is a very gray line, between coaching and dispensing financial advice. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you speak to anyone who's been in the markets long enough, you'll know that making money is tough. It takes time. But every new investor who comes into the market often comes in hearing stories about how quickly someone made a very smart gain in a particular stock, or how much money they've made. They rarely come in with the stories of how much losses the certain individual would have made, or how much pain they would have gone through in terms of picking the right stocks. So I think it's the first step. I wouldn't call it a leakage, but expectation mismatch. As long as investors come in with a very clear expectation that yes, this is some place that you can make money, even on the side, as they say, you can make money while the markets, while you sleep, markets will work for you. But it's not a get rich quick scheme. So you have to come in with very paired and very tempered expectation. Now that's on the investor side. As far as the coaching, the training side goes, it's I think SEBI is very clear when it comes to this. If you're teaching, that's fine. But the moment you get into the financial advisory side of things, right, be it direct or covert, that's where the lines sort of become black and white. I won't even call them gray because SEBI is very clear about them. Often what happens is, if you want to discuss a particular stock and you're not a SEBI registered advisor, you could well go out and say, teach someone about a particular stock via charts or via their balance sheets, inherently just letting them know that perhaps this is one stock that is on your radar as well, and just seeding the idea in their minds. So the moment the investor or the influencer gets into this kind of territory, the lines are getting muddled. SEBI, however, as I said, is very clear. As long as you're teaching, that's fine. So I think it has to be it has to be a match of two things. One, when you come in as an investor, you have to come in with very clear expectations, understand that money can be made, but it's not a get rich quick scheme. And also from the side of influencers or anyone who's genuinely interested in teaching people about investing and stock markets in particular, as long as you stick to just the concepts, just the theory, just the ideas, I think that's fine. The moment you cross over to discussing, let's say, very specific stocks, the lines get muddled. Best to get yourself SEBI registered in that.
I would definitely want to continue discussing these muddled lines, Kushbora, but there's an important news coming in. Avadhut Sathe has just released a video message to his followers and students. Let's have a look at that before we go back to Kush.
Hello dear Astayans, this is in reference to all the media reports about SEBI inquiry. Yes, SEBI did visit our Karjat Gurukul residential facility to verify whether we provide any advisory services. And you all know that we do not provide any advisory services. This is Arambha batch going on. It is 22nd of August. It's about what? 10:20 in the morning. Guys, do you get any advisory service here? No. Do you get any tips here? No. So why are you here? Learning. So are you enjoying? Yes. They are enjoying. Yes. And let me tell you, we are fully cooperating with the authorities. And I want you to, not get distracted by any media reports. All right, it's time to repose our faith in the mission. So believe in our mission. And yes, all our sessions, jitne bhi hamare events hote, they are going as per schedule, as per the plan. There is absolutely no change. So just relax and enjoy learning journey. All the best.
Kush, I have to ask you, that video of Sathe, what is your first reaction to this video? He's cleared the confusion around this particular case. What's your take?
No, again, I have not read or seen the intricacies of the case, nor have I attended any sessions of the gentleman in question. So I wouldn't comment on him specifically. My discussion is rather more on broad areas of how investors actually get lured in, and how often they get misled by certain promises. But as I said, since I've not attended his sessions and nor have I read any kind of article or any report that's come out of SEBI, so very difficult to comment on the gentleman I would refrain from.
Kushbora, but I would then want to discuss and go back to the very lines that we were talking on, right? You mentioned muddled lines, and this especially is, the root of this confusion comes from the distinction that SEBI is extremely strict about, whether it's financial advisory, registered financial advisory, or financial education. As a retail investor, when somebody is giving me advice, either in an academy or online, how do I make that distinction? What kind of information can I feed myself to understand that this is a registered financial advisor, and this is somebody who is just trying to educate me about about all kinds of financial related stuffs?
So I think again, I would like to answer that in two parts. One, as long as the legality of it goes, as I said, registrations available, registration details available plenty on the SEBI website. You can go and check. As far as the course content itself goes, if the focus is more on the topics that are being learned, correct? That's when that you're learning new stuff. When you're learning to research something more yourself. See, the idea of coaching, at least for me, has to be that it makes you independent. The moment you step out of a classroom, you should be able to go out, apply those principles and be able to identify those stocks, or maybe apply those principles and make money yourself. As long as the focus remains on the concepts, on making you independent about how to go back and do this yourself, I think that should be fine. If the reliance starts becoming more on the ideas that are generated within the classroom itself, and as I said, I'm not talking about that individual in question, I'm talking in general about how to perhaps identify whether you're getting the most out of a session or not. if your reliance on the ideas discussed in the session, a particular stock idea or a particular trade, if that develops more, then I think you might want to question whether you're learning more, or is it just a stock idea that is being discussed or passed on to you, under the guise of education. So as long as you're learning the concept, be it technical, fundamental, derivative, or just principles of financial financial independence in this case, as long as those are being taught and you go back and you're able to apply them yourself, I think that is fine. The moment the reliance is more on the stocks and whatever investing ideas are discussed, that's when things can get a little muddled. And again, it gets muddled on the training side. SEBI, as I said, is very clear. The moment you discuss stocks, in terms of an advisory format, you have to get registered.
Kush, do you think, as a market expert who has been observing the markets for such a long time, right? Me myself, I was interested in the markets when I started learning about the markets, when I started unlocking the potential it has, especially the fact that equity and investing today is one of the most important means, I think, to create wealth for yourself. Do you think it's because of the increasing promotion or encouragement of investing that's causing these sideline crimes from happening? Is that the reason why this is happening? According to you, I'd just like to get your view on this.
Look, this is a sad or a dark side effect of what is a genuine intent, of getting more and more people under the capital market ambit. Now, what's happened is most people would want to be a part of this journey. See, India, as we know, is on a journey in terms of growth, in terms of financial inclusion. But there is certain expectation mismatch, as I said earlier in the show, which is you want to get rich quick. So as long as that happens, there will always be the other side of it. Now, it's practically impossible to control or curb, every side effect of a genuine intent. But as long as you have, as I said, regular checks and balances, I think that's fine. To answer your question very pointedly, yes, this is a side effect, I would call, of creating a lot of financial inclusion. Right after 2020, a lot of investors came into this fold of capital markets, especially the stock markets, and there will be these expectations of high returns in a very quick time. But but you have to tackle that. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So you have to take these issues as they come about.
Okay, thank you for that comment. But look at the modus operandi of Sathe up on your screens now, viewers. What are the other kinds of fraudsters you have come across in the markets, Kush?
Sadly, some of the other things are quite prevalent, where you've got these pump and dump schemes, where on YouTube you've got certain channels promoting certain stocks, or maybe even in most channels, including actually like yourself and others, where you would find a lot of spam suggesting a particular stock to buy. In most cases, those stocks are illiquid. So you have to be very careful about what kind of stocks you buy and where you get your information from. Fake investment apps, I think, right now are a big menace, where it becomes very difficult for someone to identify, especially a newbie, to identify whether this is a genuine app, because the look and the feel and the entire operations are quite similar to, let's say, a genuine broking app. So that is also one thing. Plus, you've also already got the menace of free Telegram channels and WhatsApp channels passing on informations, getting subscribers on board, free and paid both. So these are some of the other ways that fraudsters or scamsters typically try to get in new advice or new retail investors into their fold. So as I said, you have to be very careful about who you're getting associated with, especially if you're new.
Right, Kush. But Kush, despite so much information being available in the public domain, investors continue to fall prey to such influencers. How can SEBI then ensure that the message reaches the most remote villages and smallest towns in India? Because I'm assuming that as an educated person living in an urban area, I would be more aware and I would have the the access to information that maybe a villager might not, or somebody living in a small town of India might not have. How can such mishaps be prevented from happening to these people?
That's an excellent question. And if I can put it on a slightly lighter note, one of the ways, a teacher would perhaps discipline the naughtiest kid in the classroom is to make them the monitor, right? So what I'm suggesting with this is how do these how do these non-registered entities reach those grassroots levels? I think this is something even SEBI or even the authorities can follow, which is partner with or rather have their own education initiatives, or get a lot of people who are into the education or the financial literacy gambit under their fold, and make sure that they through their registered licenses, just for education, not advisory, are promoting the right kind of message, the right kind of knowledge, and setting the right kind of expectations. So it's more about either having your own education programs, which I know the exchanges also partner with brokers. They subsidize a lot of these programs, but maybe you could take it to those grassroots levels. You could partner with already influencers or people who are doing this, as I said, but by getting them under their fold, by getting them registered as an educational partner and not necessarily a financial advisor. So the message is already reaching. It's about reaching via the right means, via the means of people who are genuine and who are registered. So get the message out in a way in which they reach the last mile, the smallest of the towns, because people are already starting to see these videos on YouTube. Might as well have them through authentic sources.
Right, Kush. I must say this conversation was extremely insightful and helpful for all our viewers. And thank you so much for helping us cover this issue with all angles possible. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
The pleasure's all mine.
And viewers, that's all we have on the special coverage of the Finfluencer in SEBI's net. We will be tracking all the updates on this case and bring them all to you as the news breaks. But in the meanwhile, keep your money safe and don't trust any investment advice given by anyone who is not registered with SEBI. And stay tuned to NDTV Profit, of course, for accurate information that you can trust.